Are Shell's green marketing efforts a genuine solution for climate change, or just another clever distraction? Unpacking Shell's deceptive green marketing tactics and their implications. Before diving in, make sure to like and subscribe to our channel, Luxury World, for more insights on corporate climate strategies. Shell has executed several greenwashing campaigns over the years, but a recent collaboration with renowned science educator Carrie Byron from Mythbusters truly stands out. The partnership aimed to showcase the benefits of Shell's oil drilling platforms, branding them as super mega awesome. However, the irony is palpable, given Shell's long history of undermining climate action policies for over 60 years. One can't help but question the paycheck that lured Byron into endorsing such a controversial corporation. Climate-neutral gas, a ridiculous offer. Shell's recent initiative in the UK, Netherlands, Canada, Germany, Switzerland, and other countries introduced clients to the option of purchasing climate-neutral gas for just 3 cents more per liter. At first glance, this might sound appealing, but it raises several questions about the efficacy and integrity of such a scheme. Can we expect to save the planet for a mere 3 cents per liter? To answer this, we conducted an extensive investigation into carbon offsets, revealing a tangled web of manipulated data, shadowy investment funds, and dubious promises. The complexities of this industry are astonishing, exposing the absurdity of buying your way out of responsibility. The problem with carbon offsets. The basic premise behind Shell's carbon offset campaign is straightforward. When you fill up your tank at Shell, you can offset the resulting emissions by paying a little extra. The oil extraction, refining, and transportation processes generate significant emissions, and burning fuel in your vehicle contributes even more. In certain regions, customers can offset these emissions by paying a small fee, while Shell contributes an undisclosed amount toward environmental projects, purportedly aimed at forest conservation. However, the reality is much more complicated. This offset scheme is heavily reliant on a system known as REDD+, which stands for Reducing Emissions from Deforestation and Forest Degradation. This United Nations initiative aims to fund forest conservation by selling carbon credits. While the concept seems beneficial, the execution often raises red flags. The shadow industry. In many cases, Shell and other corporations don't directly purchase carbon credits from conservation projects. Instead, a convoluted system of middlemen facilitates these transactions. For instance, the organization managing a REDD+ project in Peru, called SEMA, has worked with investment funds like Althelia Climate Fund, which received millions in carbon credits for an $8.5 million investment. However, these funds often operate in tax havens, allowing them to profit significantly while masking their operations. With a market flooded with intermediaries, the integrity of carbon credit sales becomes questionable. Reports of inflated prices and even scams abound. It's unclear how much money from carbon credit purchases truly reaches the intended conservation projects, leading to widespread skepticism. The Sierra Azul project in Peru. One of the prominent projects featured by Shell is the Sierra Azul project in Peru, covering 13,000 square kilometers, roughly the size of Northern Ireland. This area is claimed to require protection due to a presumed threat from population growth, leading to deforestation. However, investigations reveal that this region was already a protected national park long before the REDD+ project began. It was designated as such in 2001. Indigenous communities, who have lived in the area for generations, often lack proper land ownership documentation. Despite being critical stakeholders in forest conservation, their rights and voices are frequently ignored. They have even taken legal action against the Peruvian government and companies like Shell, highlighting the disconnect between corporate claims of support and the reality on the ground. The Cutting Gown project in Indonesia. Another project featured prominently by Shell is the Cutting Gown project in Indonesia, which claims to protect vast tracts of peat swamp forest. This project has also been scrutinized, with investigations showing that the supposed threats to the area are based on questionable assumptions and reference points far removed from the actual project site. The organization responsible for the project, Peran Global, disputes allegations from environmental groups like Greenpeace, but their defense often overlooks significant discrepancies regarding land use and government regulations. The absurdity of the situation. Ultimately, the evidence suggests that Shell's carbon offset initiatives are less about genuine environmental concern and more about maintaining a facade of corporate responsibility. The reliance on projects that misrepresent the actual threats to forests and disregard the rights of indigenous communities is troubling. A broken system, examining carbon credit projects. The promise and reality of REDD+. The concept of REDD+, reducing emissions from deforestation and forest degradation, aims to incentivize countries to reduce deforestation and promote sustainable forest management. A study highlighted that 40 selected REDD+ projects could significantly mitigate deforestation and degradation in their respective regions. However, a 2020 investigation into 12 REDD+ initiatives in the Brazilian Amazon found no substantial evidence of forest loss reduction. This skepticism is further compounded by a 2014 analysis revealing that 108 out of 400 examined REDD+ projects overlapped with areas that were already under protection. Norway, one of the largest purchasers of carbon credits, evaluated its investments in 2018 and concluded that the REDD+ framework performed poorly due to weak implementation, inadequate oversight, and unreliable models. Criticism of specific REDD+ projects includes investigations into an afforestation initiative in Uruguay, which turned out to be a timber plantation supported by companies like Aldi. In the US, there are examples of projects claiming to protect forests that were already safeguarded before the initiatives began. Additionally, reports have surfaced of exploitative contracts in the Congo, oversight and certification challenges. Most private REDD+ projects receive certification from organizations like the Verified Carbon Standard (VCS) and the Climate Community and Biodiversity Standards (CCBS), which are designed to ensure that forests and biodiversity are protected and that projects benefit local communities. Both certifications come from Vera, a nonprofit established in 2007, which is the largest issuer of carbon credits and has certified over 1 billion credits, surpassing Germany's annual emissions. However, Vera has responded critically to reports questioning their methods, accusing journalists from reputable outlets like The Guardian and ProPublica of misunderstanding their processes. They argue that such reporting ignores vital connections and potentially harms forest conservation. Notably, Vera has adjusted its methodology for calculating carbon credits from REDD+ projects, eliminating reference areas susceptible to significant cheating. This shift raises concerns about the integrity of their assessments, with studies indicating that as much as 90% of Vera's rainforest carbon credits may not represent actual emission reductions. The cost of offsetting emissions. Let's consider a hypothetical scenario where all of Shell's carbon credits are legitimate, and REDD+ projects effectively save the CO2 they claim. In this case, one could offset a ton of CO2 for under $15, significantly lower than the scientific estimate of $220 per ton. Trusting Shell to accurately calculate emissions is problematic due to their opaque methods. Moreover, forests are not just carbon sinks. They release CO2 when trees die. Climate change exacerbates this issue as regions like Peru become drier, reducing their CO2 storage capacity. Ironically, offset projects can legitimize further greenhouse gas emissions, endangering these crucial ecosystems. The need for genuine support. Experts emphasize the urgent need for protection and funding of forests in the global south, insisting support shouldn't depend on carbon credits. Transitioning from fossil fuels to renewable energy is essential for combating climate change. Corporate green initiatives, like Shell's carbon offsets, distract from real solutions and shift responsibility to individuals, echoing strategies employed by companies like BP to avoid systemic change. The disconnect between claims and reality. Despite public commitments to climate projects and renewable energy expansion, Shell continues to fund lobbying groups that hinder the transition to sustainable energy. This duality is evident in their financial decisions. Shell allocated only 1.5% of its total budget to renewable energy in 2021, planning to invest $2 to $3 billion annually by 2030, while simultaneously committing around $12 billion to oil and gas exploration. A recent study examined the green promises of oil companies, revealing a consistent disconnect between their claims and actual investments. The fossil fuel industry remains dependent on extracting resources, fearing that a rapid shift to renewable energy would undermine their business model. The voluntary carbon credit market, valued at around $2 billion in 2021 and expected to hit $50 billion by 2030, pressures companies to appear environmentally responsible. However, this fosters a dynamic where various stakeholders prioritize maximizing carbon credits, undermining the credibility of REDD+ projects. While rainforest protection is crucial, relying solely on carbon credits allows companies like Shell to maintain harmful practices, hindering real progress in combating climate change. So don't forget to subscribe to our channel Luxury World and hit the bell icon for all of our upcoming uploads. Until the next time, goodbye.